Good morning from the allotment. Lovely sunny Sunday morning. We're in shirt sleeve order, even down to the shorts. It seems the weather has finally made a turn for the better. I did promise to make a video through last week, but I got really busy at work and also had quite a lot to do down here. As you can see, the greenhouse is looking quite bare. A lot of the plants needed to go out, so that's what I cracked on with last week. A bit awkward to do video in that time because I'm really busy, as I say. But what I'll do, I'm going to finish my cuppa and I'll just take you a walk around the plot and just show you exactly what we've done, what we've planted and where we are to press. Okay? I'm going to start first from the greenhouse and work my way down to the bottom of the top plot. So as you can see, got the sunflowers in, gave them a little bit of a feed yesterday, and that fence is going to come in handy to be able to tie and support the sunflowers against that. As we turn round, here are some leftover runner beans that I popped in this spare bed. This bed, we've got some spinach at the front, a few lettuce that I had left over, I popped in there, and then we've got 2 rows of fennel. And I've got some of that fennel to take home with me because it's a really nice structural plant with a lovely flower. As you can see, I've put up my bamboo canes and I've got some, I think there's 16 tomatoes altogether, and I think the golden sunrise all the way around the cage there. I'm thinking now that my Elsa Craigs that I was a bit worried about in the last video are picking up. They seem to have put on a little bit of size, so I'm quite pleased with that. I've got myself some squash in the 2 prepared squash beds there, and the runner beans have gone in, so we're really on with the season now. As you can see there, just in the corner against the fence, that's one of my gabion baskets. I've planted that up with strawberries and 2 climbing cucumbers, outdoor cucumbers, so they should clothe the fence quite nicely. Spinning around to this side, I'm in the processes of making another brassica cage, because I've still got my turnips, a couple more sprouts and kale to go in. So that's going to be a job I'm going to be on with next week. Here are the leeks that you saw me planting last week. They're doing quite well. I just give them a little water every day just until they start to fill in. And that one is virtually there now. That's going to be another tomato bed. And a very similar cage to the one, bamboo cage to the one that I've just shown you. The other Elsa Craigs, forgive my shadow, are doing okay. They're picking up as well. And 2 further squash in the squash bed there. The potatoes are romping away now. They're really doing well. Here I've got my sweet corn, which looks a little bit pale at the moment, but I tend to find over the years that's how it always starts off for me. So it does green up. So I've got 1 bed here, and as you can see just over the way there, there's another bed there. Got the 4 courgettes in this bed. In the middle there, there's a bay tree, and I just bobbed some lupins there just to add a little bit of colour to the plot. And also what I've done on these beds here is down the sides I've lined them with cosmos and lavateria all the way up to the end of the potatoes, and these 2 beds as well, and across here all the way up these sides. So that's going to add a little bit of colour, hopefully draw some bees into the plot, and just make it look quite nice. I've got my hose pipe on. We're not allowed to use hose pipes on our plot, so All we can do is fill the water butts up with the hose pipe. You're not allowed to actually water your plot. Makes things very, very difficult really. I've got 2 plots. Doing it with a watering can is quite hard and time consuming. As you can see here, I've got quite a few bags of potatoes. I've got some there, and I've also got some at the other side of the net tunnel there, and I've still some to put in. A friend of mine had some left over in their allotment shop, and I got 4 kgs for £1.20. I think they're Picasso on this side, and on the other side they're Charlotte's. So I thought it's worth putting them in. And the good thing about those is when they go over and they're finished, if I store them under the bench in the greenhouse, they'll stay dry and should store better. So that's what I'm going to try anyway. As you can see, the onions are doing really well. These are the red ones. I've got to keep an eye on these because some of them are trying to go to seed and they're popping the flower up, so I'm having to nip them out all the time. These are the white ones. These are really starting to swell up now, as you can see. So they should be nice and big. More potato trenches, and more potato trenches on this side. And the carrots are doing well. I've got my planting pods here. Now that's got a squash in it, and that's going to climb along this fence here. I've also put one in each of the small planters on the other side, so that they can go along this fence and along this fence here. And I've got another planting pod there, so that should cover that side. And then as you go up here, I've got 2 more. I've got one there and one there, and that's got cucumber in. So the plot is starting to look quite full. Moving into the net tunnel, things are really starting to stand up in here now. Across the back, the red cabbage is doing really, really well. There's the spares that I'm going to be giving to Michael, my plot neighbour. Across there are the Savoys, again standing up lovely. And then in here we've got the cauliflowers. Here we go, and then we have some kohlrabi. Now I had a problem with the pak choi. It went to seed, quite a bit of damage on them that they get sort of eaten, so they didn't do really well. So I've taken them out. As you can see, I've bobbed in 3 sprouts. So I firmed that ground really, really well for those. All the things that you've got in the tray here, that you can see in the tray on this bed, they're my turnips. They're going to go in the brassica cage when I hopefully complete that this week. Oh yes, and quite quickly, remember I took out the peas from here and tried to transplant them. Well, I'm quite pleased that I did it, because they've really stood up. So I'm going to get sorted with some canes in there and get a better net on it, and it looks like we're going to get something from those peas. Just have a quick look in the second greenhouse. As you can see there, I've got 5 pots with some Muskoka tomatoes in, which we've got in those 2 baskets, and we've got in those 2. So plenty of tomatoes going on. Second greenhouse, again, the tomatoes are looking really, really well in this bed. Popped a few marigolds in there, keep away the pests. And on the front of here, next week, all my chilies and peppers are going to be potted on, and the aim is that the biggest greenhouse there will be cleaned out and they will go in there. What I'm thinking of doing is putting another bed like this one in this side, but I'll talk to you about that another time. Let's go further down the bottom plot. The garlic's looking tremendous. It's swelling up nicely, so I'm reckoning probably another month or so we'll be at that. Steer onions are doing well there, what I put in this year, and my parsnips, the ones I transplanted with a teaspoon, are looking good too. Managed to get my dahlias in. This is more of a growing bed. So all the dahlias, well, some of the dahlias are in here. I've interplanted with some sweet corns. You can see there, sort of 3 pockets of sweet corn I've got into this bed, along with lupins, along with fennel, and also some lavateria. And pretty much similar here with 3 squash there, and the idea is that they're going to go up and over my wood store and along this fence. Some broad beans there, looking good. I need to get some supports in there for those. The strawberries are looking good. I'm going to get ready to put a frame around that to stop the birds pecking the fruits. That bed's covered up because that's going to have parsnips in once the second lot have germinated, which they've started to do. Some lemon coriander in there. We have some rainbow chard and more broad beans that need supporting. Well, it's an absolutely glorious day down here now. It must be at least 20 degrees. I've been joined by my grandson Freddie, who's come down to do... What are we doing today, Fred? We're planting...
Potatoes.
We'll show him your potato. And we're planting them in this bag here. And Freddie's doing a project at school, so he's learning where his chips come from. Anyway, that's enough from me today. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the weather if you've got it. And until next week, I'll see you later. But what do we say, Freddie?
Happy growing.
Happy growing. Take care.